Trojan Sports Now.
Hello and welcome to Trojan Sports Now. I'm Ryan Renfro, and today we are joined by senior volleyball player Blair Winston. Now, Blair, thanks for joining us. By the way,
problem.
we're going to jump right into your high school career before you came to Troy. You're from Marietta, Georgia, Sprayberry High School. What kind of brought you to Troy, and what attracted you to the Trojan lifestyle?
I committed to Troy fairly early in my high school career. I think I was committed before my senior year, actually. So that was a fun experience, I guess. But when I came to Troy, I came my junior year in high school. I fell in love with the campus. I fell in love with the atmosphere, with the girls who are already here. I knew fairly early on in the recruiting process that I wasn't going to get that feeling at any other university that I visited. So I made my decision very easy that Troy was where I wanted to be for the next 4 years.
What other schools were you looking at going to?
Let's see. Okay, Mississippi State, Radford, some other schools far away. And Troy was the perfect distance from Atlanta to Troy, where I knew I'd be able to see my family on weekends and stuff, because I didn't want to be too far away, because I like going home, but not all the time. Yeah.
All right, well, in high school, you had a pretty successful high school career. You played all 4 years, appeared in playoffs in all 4 seasons as well. You're named All-State as a junior and senior, and I think your junior and senior year, you were team captain and MVP.
Yeah.
Correct? And then from high school over to college, it carried over pretty well. I mean, your freshman season, you earned second team All-Sun Belt honors, the first freshman in Troy history to do so. So that's pretty impressive. So going back to that freshman year here at Troy that you had, and looking at where you are now, in what ways have you progressed, and how far have you come as a player?
I definitely wish I felt like how I felt my freshman year, just like with my body and everything, because in my freshman year I came in fresh. I knew I wanted to play. I knew what spot I wanted. I knew what work I had to do to get that spot. So I was definitely real fresh, I would say, all around. And that was a good feeling to have my freshman year, because I knew that's the pace I wanted to set for the next 4 years. And then my sophomore year, I had a little bit of an injury. And then my junior year, I just had surgery in April. So I've had a couple hiccups in my process, but none of it has really pushed me back too far to where I didn't want to be. But I've been able to kind of transpire and just continue to keep a consistent pace of how I wanted to play.
What happened with your surgery? What did you?
I had a stress fracture on my left tibia, so I actually have a rod in my leg. So
that's always good. And Blair, like I said, you're a senior on the team this season. What has the experience been like for you so far this year?
Well, being a senior comes along with that leadership role. And playing volleyball is something I know how to do. It's something I'm not going to forget. But that leadership role is something that I really wanted to come in and be a good example to set for the team. And there's 4 seniors on this year's team, and we've all been here since our freshman year. And we all have our own leadership styles in 4 very different ways. And I think when all of us 4 are together on the court, you see that in 4 different ways. And once it all comes together, it's really like something that can't be stopped.
That's impressive. Well, 4 different leadership styles. What's your personal leadership style? How do you choose to lead others?
Well, I have the label of being most intense on the team, which is a good thing to me. Like, I like being a very powerful player, and I like making an example of when I play. That's how I want my younger players to play, with just an attitude, with confidence, and just to know that you're one of the best girls out on the court at all times.
And we're going to talk about kind of this. You guys had a rough streak recently, but last night, though, you guys bounced back with a big win against Alabama A&M. So how did it feel to get that win last night?
So good. We knew we shouldn't have been on that long of a losing streak, especially starting conference 2 weeks ago. We knew we wanted to come in and make a statement, and that was kind of rough to do, going 5 games with the first 2 teams, but we know that we can compete with the better teams in the conference. So knowing that, and still very early in the conference, we still have a lot of games to be played. So knowing that we can compete with those teams is all the confidence we need to go out and win.
What's been the main focus for you, I guess, as a leader on this team to kind of build on progressing forward in terms of kind of setting the good example for the younger players?
I think just mental toughness, because we have a lot of younger girls that do have a very important role in this team. So if the older girls can set a good example of staying mental tough through situations to get through 5-set games, the younger girls will kind of see that and know that they can do it as well.
Right. And then, most people kind of have an inspiration when it comes to playing a sport. If you're playing baseball, you want to be, I know for me, I always wanted to be Derek Jeter. I always wanted to be Derek Jeter. Basketball, it might be LeBron James or someone like that.
Yeah.
But for you, a volleyball player, how did you get started?
Well, actually, my older sister played. So in high school, she was a senior on varsity and I was a freshman on varsity. So we got to play together, which was probably one of the coolest experience of my volleyball career. So of course, since my older sister was playing, little sister had to play to do what she was doing. And with the big sister, little sister rivalry, I always had to be better than her. So I decided to do that by playing college volleyball. And I pretty much just play for her and my family because I know they're my biggest supporters and my biggest fans.
So you guys competed really a lot growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Who's kind of your inspiration, I guess, aside from her? Maybe like is there a professional player that you might look up to? Or?
Probably not professional. I would just think of other top college programs like Texas, Penn State, like those girls who I know are 7 feet tall, like very competitive, intense looking girls. I would just think other really impressive programs would be teams that I look up to.
And you said you almost went to Mississippi State, but you came to Troy. So how does it kind of feel? What's it like to be able to compete against these top-notch programs in the Sun Belt? And
I love competing against bigger schools, bigger schools with just Troy. I love, like, we've gone to Tennessee the past 2 springs and beat them both years in a row. I'm surprised they keep inviting us back, but we've played a lot of big schools, and we love going out there and being the underdogs and just playing as hard and nobody expecting us to come out and compete with these teams.
We're going to jump into a fun round of fun questions,
Okay.
I guess is the easiest way to put it. Here at Troy, you're majoring in global business with a concentration in risk management and insurance. So kind of talk about maybe what you want to go into after college.
I love my major. I love the group of people I'm in there with. I actually went to London in May to study abroad with the risk management and insurance group. It was awesome. I just changed my major last spring because I was general business, and that was kind of too broad, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do with that. But narrowing down into the risk management and insurance field, like, I just feel like my possibilities are endless. So after I graduate, I'll probably move back to Atlanta and look for employment there, since that's where I'm from. That's a big city with lots of opportunities.
Both my parents are in insurance, so.
Oh, really? Okay,
yeah.
good.
Look me up. Let's see. And then I know you didn't want me to ask this question, and if you don't have an answer,
No, okay,
it's
I'm thinking the last book I've read. Maybe I really don't know. Probably whatever our freshman reading had to be.
Okay.
I don't even know what it was. The Ghost Map. The Ghost Map is the last book
Okay.
I've read.
Okay.
Yeah.
I might have to read that one. And then what's your favorite meal?
Okay, all my teammates know that I'm obsessed with going to Texas Roadhouse because I love the Texas Roadhouse rolls, and I'm just obsessed. So I always get the chicken critter salad. I know it sounds really weird, but that's my go-to meal for any time anyone asks me, where do you want to go to eat? Texas Roadhouse.
Gotcha. Well, what do you like to do as a student athlete? What do you like to do in your free time? As a student athlete, you might not have as much time as other people here at Troy.
In all of our free time, I think we find ourselves always hanging out with our team, which I don't mind hanging out with the girls 24/7. Whenever we're not in the court or in the weight room, we're always at one of each other's houses just doing something, but we're always together. So being with them is something that I enjoy doing, and that's going to be the main thing I miss when I graduate.
And you travel you went to Arkansas to play Little Rock and Arkansas State. So that long bus ride, you talk about being with your team. How have you guys bonded? In what ways do you guys bond on those long bus rides?
We do all sorts of crazy things. Like we play the game, What Are the Odds? We watch movies, but we sleep a lot. But when we're not sleeping, we're always up laughing, cutting up, like just doing something that'll make us remember that weekend. If it has nothing to do with volleyball, we'll say, oh, remember that one time on the bus in Arkansas when this happened? Well, yeah, everyone will remember that.
And you said earlier that the seniors get the bottom bunks, the most comfortable ones.
Oh, yeah.
And the freshmen have to sleep up.
Seniors get on the bus first, pick your spots, because everyone had to go through that, because the top beds are really, if the bus driver hits a big bump, you might fall out of that bed. So that freshmen are up top for sure.
I gotcha. Well, Blair, once again, thank you for joining us. That's going to wrap up
No problem. Thank
today's
you.
version of Trojan Sports Now. And once again, thank you for joining us as well. And remember to tune in to Troy Trojan Vision News to stay up to date on all Trojan sports here on campus. Once again, thanks for tuning in, and have a good day. Go Trojans.